Hi folks, the Filipina P here, and as promised, it's time for the flip side of the coin as I present the foolproof ways to seriously upset a Filipina. Now just like last week, this video is of course only a comedy to point out the things we Filipinas are sensitive to. No foreigner actually wants to annoy his partner, but if he does any of these things, that's exactly what he's gonna have, a Tasmanian devil on steroids. So just sit back, relax, and listen to all the devious ways to turn up a Filipina's temperature beyond the boiling point. But beware, it might be your relationship that gets cooked. The silent interpreter. This tactic is the answer to last week's technique, where a Filipina and her friends speak English during boring parts of a conversation, but switch to a local dialect they know you can't understand when discussing more intimate matters. It'll take a little bit of your time, but it's probably the best investment you can make if you want to defeat her attempt to filter out incriminating information by using the language barrier. Forget Tagalog, and instead learn some of the local tongue, because that's the one she'll be using when talking to friends. The more you understand, the better. But in order to spot trouble, all you really need is to be able to recognize problematic words like bed, sex, lover, and eggplant. Now so far, that sounds obvious enough, but here's the most important part of the whole operation. Never reveal that you understand a single word of her language, because the minute you do, you've compromised the entire mission and destroyed your ability to gather further intel. Fortunately, there's a better alternative that causes a delicious chaos amongst her circle of friends. The next time you overhear something you need to comment on or put a stop to, just say that one of her friends told you what was going on, but refused to name the double agent. Trying to find the traitor in her midst will drive her crazy and also make her very concerned about what other conversations might be revealed. Expect your Filipina to be extra nice to you for months to come. Mom's the word. Tired of trying to please your Filipina by asking her opinion, and the response is always, whatever you want. You ask her what she wants to eat, and she says, whatever you want. You ask her where she'd like to vacation, and she replies with, wherever you want. Well, there's one way to quickly break her of this habit, and all it requires is giving her the same treatment in return. Whenever there's a choice, simply refuse to make a decision about anything and insist you have no opinion on the matter. When you get behind the wheel, don't even start the engine until she decides where to go and how to get there. When you're at a restaurant, pretend to be unable to decide what to eat and ask her to order for the both of you. When you turn on the TV, give her the remote and let her try to find something that'll please you both. But just one suggestion. You might want to block all the local channels first, or you could end up watching a silly drama in Tagalog about a husband and a wife who are cheating on each other. I haven't met a Filipina yet that can resist a show like that. She'll probably spend several hours scrolling through the dizzying array of shows, passing by the same programs over and over like someone who keeps returning to the same refrigerator, hoping that the food will miraculously change. She'll give up in disgust without finding anything except the realization that controlling the remote comes with a lot of responsibility. Finally, use the same tactics in the bedroom, saying that it's her turn to pick the activities, right down to the positions those activities should be conducted in. The stress of all this decision making will get to her before the sun comes up, and she'll be begging you to take the lead once again. Hopefully, this time, she recognizes that it's nice to have a little help when steering the ship. Even Captain P can tell you, it's no fun having a helpless first mate. The Decoy Dater. If you ever want to remind a Filipina that there are other fish in the sea, a maneuver I do not recommend without proper body armor and good health insurance, including long-term hospitalization. This technique will not only drive the point home, but it'll send her on a wild goose chase that will never end. When you know she's close enough to see the screen of your phone, but not so close that it's obvious you know she's watching, trust me, she will be. Casually pop up the homepage of a dating site you've never used before. Not any woman's picture in particular, just the homepage. That's all you need to do. This action will trigger a specific chain of events. First, she may throw something at you, whatever's handy, so be prepared to deflect any incoming projectiles. Next, if she's not too angry to speak, she'll immediately demand to know why you're on a dating site, to which you replied that you weren't. It was just a link your friend sent, and you didn't even know what it was until you opened it. This gives you the necessary amount of possible deniability. After which, you turn off your phone, plead the fifth, and refuse to cooperate with the investigation. Because you and she both know there's gonna be an investigation that'll make the O.J. Simpson case look like a traffic ticket. She'll probably hire an investigative firm, or at least recruit the help of all the friends she's made since birth, to help her sort through every male profile in that dating site, sniffing for any trace of any photo that even resembles you. The latest face recognition software will be employed to ensure that not one of these photos is yours, using a fake name to throw off the bloodhounds. She might even attempt to subpoena the company's records to cross-check them against your name and any aliases you've been known to use, just to rule out the possibility that you were a paying member who used someone else's photo. If there's a trace of you on that dating site, she'll find it, just to confirm her suspicions that you're a dirty, rotten cheater. But after spending 4 years of her life conducting her own version of the Russia collusion investigation, she'll probably have to admit that you were telling the truth all along. Riches to rags. Some men complain how unfair it is that once they get married, their partner often gains a lot of weight and loses interest in sex, kind of like a marital bait and switch, and they're stuck without being able to do anything about it. Well, here's the way to get even. Every day, make a show of checking the latest performance of the stock market and get a look of panic on your face as you tell her you just lost another 25% of your net worth. Tell her that if things keep going the way they're going, you'll be needing her to pick up the slack and support the both of you. Remind her that as a foreigner with a tourist visa, you can't work, so it might be necessary for her to pick up some extra hours at the sari-sari store and cut back on most of the spending she's doing. At the same time, increase your interest in sex to the point that every time she turns around, you're asking her to turn around. If this doesn't work, there's one more trick you can add to the arsenal. Make sure to always surround yourself with empty beer bottles and hardly move throughout the day. In no time, you and your partner will be hammering out some new terms for your relationship. Fill in the blank. In case you haven't discovered it yet, there's a word that's common to every Filipino dialect and it's used more frequently than any other word we've got. It has no real meaning, and yet it can mean anything the speaker wants it to. Sounds like a riddle, but I'm talking about the word kuwan. It's supposed to be a filler word like or whatchamacallit, but we use it so often that it can render almost any sentence incomprehensible to all but Filipinos. We replace nouns with kuwan. We replace verbs with kuwan. We even replace people's names with kuwan, so that no matter how well you learn our language, you're still left shaking your head when you try to figure out what the heck we're talking about. Somehow we understand each other just fine, but you foreigners are often left without a clue. So if you want to annoy and exasperate a Filipina, just give us a dose of our own medicine. Start replacing half the words in your sentences with kuwan, and make sure they're words that are vital to understanding the sentence, like we do. Instead of saying, I'm gonna go to the pub with John, say, I'm gonna go to the kuwan with Kuwan, and then out the door you go, leaving your Filipina with the task of figuring out what just happened. It won't take long before your partner's unable to understand anything you say, and she'll quickly get tired of the constant guessing game. But on the upside, giving her a good dose of her own ultra-vague speech might just get her to be a little more precise in the future, just the way you like it. The double take. When you're out together in public, quickly spin your head around to glance at every cute girl you see, but then immediately look away. Your Filipina will notice your inability to keep your eyes straight ahead, and when she complains about it, just say, but whenever I saw that she was pretty, I turned away. You should be thanking me for my fidelity. Insist that you're doing a great job as a loyal mate, and look surprised and more than a little disappointed that she doesn't see it that way. You can't change your involuntary reactions, so what's she fussing about? You're doing the best you can with what you've got. After she starts talking to you again, which can take anywhere from 30 minutes to the 30th of November, explain that if it bothers her, then you expect the same degree of restraint from her. Every time she passes a window display of dresses, she should immediately look away. Keep insisting that it's the same thing, even though you know it's not. So every time she buys a new piece of clothing, you expect to be forgiven for one of your momentary indiscretions. For an advanced tactic, do the same thing with her cute sister. Every time you look in the sister's direction, quickly look away. Your Filipina will get the point, thus permanently freeing you from any obligation to attend future family functions. And those are the 6 ways to turn your happy home into a battlefield in one easy lesson. Now again, this video is just comedy, and I know you won't actually use any of these tactics. If you avoid doing these things, you're liable to enjoy smooth sailing. That is, until you accidentally violate one of the other 294 unspoken rules that land you in relationship purgatory. Thanks to all the viewers whose submissions were used to create this diabolical list. And I hope you got a good laugh or 3 out of my attempt to make fun of some common situations. I'll see you again in just 3 days with something I guarantee you won't be expecting. Till then, folks. Here's a little extra benefit if you're living here in the Philippines. If you're a frequent moviegoer, the Philippines is the place for you because we have some of the cheapest ticket prices on the planet. I actually looked up global prices, and one of the most expensive places to see a movie was Switzerland, with an average price of $16.80 per ticket. Great Britain was $10 and the US was over $8, and that was back in 2014, so I can only imagine what the prices are now. But here in the Philippines, the average price for a brand new release at a state-of-the-art theater is only 220 pesos, or about $4 US. I'm not kidding. A few weeks ago, I went to see a new Top Gun movie, which was really good, by the way. Almost as good as the original, and it was only $4. Can you imagine? The only bad thing, though, is they turned up the sound so much that after 2 hours of listening to jet engines at a realistic volume, I couldn't hear anything for about 24 hours. So, if you're a movie buff, the Philippines will save you some serious cash. But just remember to bring your earplugs. If you think about it, I'm kind of like the girl next door. No costumes, no superpowers, just someone who keeps their eyes and ears open and knows how to get you the information you need when trying to learn about life in the Philippines. I'm familiar with Western culture, and I know my own, so I can be a valuable resource when it comes to all things Filipino. If you enjoy my channel and want to help it grow, please hit the thumbs up button on this video, subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell, and consider checking out my Patreon page where you'll find exclusive videos and features. And you can rest assured that I'll be bringing you fresh, high-quality content twice a week. See you around the neighborhood! Oh, I almost forgot. Can I borrow a cup of sugar?